Alright, it's time for a new project. Lionel number 53, Snowplow. Obviously missing the snowplow portion. It's also missing the window stanchions on both sides. The shell end is broken off, so it can kind of do like that. But I do have that piece, so that actually happened in transit when it was being mailed to me, so that's wonderful. But it's in pretty good mechanical condition. You can see not too much wear and tear on the rollers or the wheels, and it does run very well. It's going to take a lot of cosmetic work. It's missing this handrail too. It's supposed to look like that. So yeah, let's get to it. So this really is the good part. Try to focus in here. You can see how good the brushes look. Clean the motor is. The E-unit is very clean. It actually works very well. It works perfectly, in fact. So yeah, nothing's really going to need to be done mechanically. This, on the other hand, is where all the fun is going to happen. That. Alright, so this shell is plastic. These handrails are steel. So if I do decide to reuse them, which I am not sure if I'm going to do yet, but if I do decide to reuse them, I'll be putting paint stripper on them that not compatible with plastic, so they're going to have to come off. The other separately fitted parts are going to have to come off. The lenses and the bell, backup lens there, headlight lens there. The bell is separately fitted. That shouldn't be too hard though. If I do decide to paint this thing, then I won't want to get paint on the gold bell. Very gently. Like I said, it's plastic, so don't want to break it. Easy does it. There we go. Bell. Focusing on that. And the lenses, I don't think are really held in by anything at all. In fact, I can probably just push them out with my finger. Have a lens hole. Same in the front, more than likely. Put my screwdriver down. Yeah. Alright. So, those handrails are riveted on, so it's over to the drill. Some interesting notes about the lettering on this engine. The A in Rio Grande is backwards. That makes this the common variation. They noticed that later in the production run, and they flipped the A around the right way, and those are pretty rare. So even if you find one in this condition, don't tear it apart until you check if the A is the right way around. Also, it says Lionel there on the front. Interesting, the real Vulcan switcher did have the builder printed there, but it said Caterpillar, because the engine in this, which includes the radiator here, was made by Caterpillar, not by the Vulcan Ironworks. Yeah. Alright, so we've got this corner missing. We've got the piece here. It broke off pretty clean, so fits on nice. So all I'm going to do is just take a bottle of glue. This is Loctite gel, so it doesn't run all over my hands when I squeeze it out of the bottle. And just very carefully, actually, I'm going to focus the camera before I do that. Isn't that a good idea? There we go. Now you can actually see what's going on. Doesn't take much, it's plastic, so, you know, the CA glue will bond it together real well. Okay. Sure we are in focus here. And I'm just going to scoop some of that glue out from inside that mounting hole. Screwdriver. Alright, well, it's pretty much fixed. Wait for that glue to cure. Alright, so I'd like to replace this stanchion, or whatever it's called, in the window. To do that, I'm just going to take my hobby knife and clean up some of the plastic there. I have this piece of wood, I think is going to be the perfect dimensions to make a new one. Alright, well, that went pretty well. Get the other side done. Looks pretty good. I also noticed that there wasn't going to be a clearance issue on this broken corner with just gluing a little piece of balsa wood in there to reinforce that some. So yeah. Next part. This is a little bit raised here, so when we paint it, you're still going to be able to see the lettering. So I'm going to take some very fine sandpaper. This is 400 grit. I'm just going to scrub the paint and lettering off right there. Alright, that's what it looks like. Doesn't have to look good, it just has to be sort of smooth to the touch. That's how you know you're going to get a good finish on your paint. And while I used a 400 grit wet or dry sandpaper, and I used it wet to keep it from scoring the side of the plastic too bad. When I was drying it off the paper towel, I just went around and got some of the dirt and stuff off the running boards and the nooks and crannies. That's a little more stuck on there, but feels okay. It feels pretty smooth, so I don't think you're going to be able to notice that through the paint. So yeah, I think this thing is ready for paint. Well, I had wanted to do a little segment on fixing up the mechanism, but there's nothing to say. I mean, nothing needs to be done. I'm kind of surprised considering how bad the cosmetic condition of this unit is, but no, all I really did was oil it, and it's nice and clean. It runs great. The only thing I will say, grab a pointing tool. When you service these things, see if we can see, you have to take the shell off and put some oil right there. Right there. Let me get a light. Yeah. So that's where the motor goes into the shell. That has to be lubricated with oil, not grease. And it has to be done. So you can't just service this thing from the bottom like you can other engines. You have to take the shell off and be sure that point gets some lubrication. And if you've ever heard these things running along just growling like crazy, that's what's going on. They don't have the bottom of the motor lubricated there. So yeah, that's all I have to say about the mechanism. I think that's probably enough for part 1 here. I guess in part 2 I can show you the paint color I chose, and we'll put it all back together. Might even do some decals and handrails and stuff like that. And we'll have it done. So yeah, stay tuned.